Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures, Daily Dose of Nature. I'm your host, Sunny Vanderstar. Today's topic is Mediterranean to Mountains, exploring Croatia and Slovenia. And it'll be presented by our wonderful expedition leader, Monika Mikulec. Monika, thank you so much for being here. Can't wait to hear this presentation. I'm dying to visit these locations with you, and I'll just turn it right over to you. Go ahead and get started.
Thank you, Sunny. Welcome everyone to this presentation. I'm so excited having an opportunity to share with you more info about Croatia and Slovenia. But before that, please let me introduce myself a little more. So I was born and raised in Croatia. When I was a child, I was always somewhere in the nature or playing some sports. I even professionally played a couple of sports. But later, I started working in corporate world for approximately 5 years. And at some point, I realized that green office would suit me much better. And finally, in 2008, I ended up working in adventure travel. I need to say that I'm really in love with adventure travel. I think it provides a great combination of culture, history, nature, and activities, and it's a perfect way to explore a new country. And definitely, it was a way to explore myself too, because there are just few things in life that will impact us as much as traveling will. Nothing changes the way you view your own life experience, like seeing the way other people live. And in that case, we definitely more appreciate and we are more thankful for the life that we have. And at the same time, we have more empathy for other cultures and definitely countries. So guys, thanks again for being with me today. I hope you will enjoy some of the highlights that I'm going to share with you. So that was me. If you look at the map, Croatia and Slovenia. So Croatia is green and Slovenia orange. So are the countries in Southern Europe on the border between Western and Eastern Europe. Croatia occupies most of the eastern coast of the Adriatic Sea, but both countries have several land neighbors. Slovenia is bordered by Italy to the west, Austria to the north, Hungary to the northeast, Croatia to the southeast, and Adriatic Sea to the southwest. Around 4 million people actually live in Croatia. Slovenia is much smaller. It's mostly mountainous and forested and has a population of 2.1 million. Both countries were part of one of the most biologically rich regions before, but once they entered the European Union, so Croatia entered the European Union in 2013. For Slovenia, it was before 2004. So European Union has its own ecological network, which is called Natura 2000. The ecological network, Natura 2000, it includes almost 37% of Croatia's land territory and 17% of its territorial sea. So what's exactly Natura 2000? It's a network of core breeding and resting sites for rare and threatened species, and some rare natural habitat types which are protected in their own right. And it stretches across all European Union countries, both on land and at sea. So the aim of the network is to ensure the long-term survival of Europe's most valuable and threatened species and habitats, listed under both the Bird Directive and the Habitats Directive. So you can see on the map, these blue, green, and orange spots are under Natura 2000. This is a map of Croatia, and here you can see the map of Slovenia. So due to specific geographical positions and characteristic ecological and geomorphological conditions, Croatia is one of the richest European countries in terms of biodiversity. The great diversity of land, marine, and underground habitats has resulted in a wealth of species and subspecies, including a significant number of endemics. So Croatia is amongst the 3 European countries richest in flora, together with Slovenia and Albania. Croatia is among 8 European countries with the greatest mammal diversity. Croatia's ornithofauna is amongst the richest in Europe when considering the 78 bird species which breed in Croatia and are threatened at the European level. The total number of bird species is around something less than 400, and more than half of those breed on Croatian territory. Regarding the Slovenia, nature in Slovenia is among the most lushes in European Union. Generations of Slovenians has managed to preserve the nature, so that more than half of the territory are areas of special interest. Natura 2000 sites cover about something less than 40% of the country territory, which is really high. More than 22,000 animal species, 3,500 plant species can be found in Slovenia. Of those, more than 2,000 species on the red list are listed as endangered plant and animal species. And more than, actually less than 1,000 animal species are protected. This is a map which follows our itinerary. After landing in Zadar and exploring this beautiful town and nearby area, like Krupa Canyon and Kornati Islands National Park, we go towards the north, stopping along the way and immersing ourselves in North Velebit National Park, then Cres Island, and the Istria Peninsula until we finally reach Slovenia and the town of Bled and Bohinj, where we hike Julian Alps and Triglav National Park on both days. This is Zadar. Zadar is the main city in North Dalmatia. It has approximately 75,000 inhabitants, but it's most famous for that old town, which is located in the peninsula, and it's completely pedestrianized. The town has numerous Roman and other wonderful sites. Some of them you can see on this photo. So the history of Zadar is really quite fascinating. The city walls, the gates, all the important buildings, all were constructed during the Roman period. We will have chance to explore this beautiful town on foot. This is our base for 2 nights. This is Hotel Bastion. It's a heritage hotel. It's a 4-star hotel, and it's really outstanding hotel located just right on the city walls. And the next day, we go on Krupa River. It's long just 4 miles, but Krupa River is a breathtaking beauty, carving a majestic karst canyon and cascading over 19 waterfalls. The entire landscape of Krupa River is a cultural heritage. The Krupa River is the first river in country under such protection, and so its preservation from it's preserved from any interventions or developments that would threaten to destroy this landscape. So our hike will take us along the educational trail leading from one of the small village on the edge of the canyon, and we will hike down to the bridge. The bridge is called Cres Bridge, and it offers amazing views of the Krupa River and its tufa barrier called the Deveterats. This particular tufa phenomenon was named after 9 tufa cascades, ending with a tall cascade and Cres Bridge on it. This bridge is the oldest preserved crossing of the Krupa River. So it was built in dry stone wall technique at the end of 19th century. It consists of 12 arches made from tufa blocks and 12 stone pillars. So the bridge is protected as a cultural monument. And this is Kornati National Park. It's actually the whole Kornati Islands are an archipelago consisting of 140 islands and islets, covering an area of approximately 114 square miles. 89 of the islands are part of Kornati National Park, which we're gonna visit. The park was established in 1980. Kornati National Park is often mentioned as a nautical paradise. That's why we're gonna go there with a boat. So with its natural beauty, numerous coves and crystal clear blue waters, it's really amazing to sail around those islands. There's a famous George Bernard Shaw who fell in love with a group of islands, and he said, on the last day of creation, God desired to crown his work, and thus created the Kornati Islands out of tears, stars, and breath. Really nice. There are no permanent residents on the islands, and most area belongs to the people of nearby island, one bigger island, which is not part of national park. It's called Murter Island. So people from that island come usually to tend the olive groves, the vineyards, orchards. They have also cottages on the Kornati Islands, in which they stay during the agricultural season. So we will sail around these islands. We will also have a chance to stop on some of them, take a walk and a small hike. We will have a chance to take a swim there too, and immerse ourselves in that beauty. Regarding the fauna, there are 2 large colonies of yellow-legged gull, actually huge colonies, but along them there is a colony of common shag too, and colonies of 3 species of swifts, but there are many other species too. The Kornati are particularly interesting during the migration season, when you can see various species of migratory birds like common crane, then black-winged stilt, gray herons, and many others. One of the most characteristic sea mammal species which inhabited the archipelago is the common bottlenose dolphin. It can be actually found in whole Adriatic Sea. The bottlenose dolphin population size estimates are the minimum of 250 mature adults. You can see on the picture on the right down, that's a pen shell or giant Mediterranean pen. Lives in the sandy seabed of shallow coastal areas. It's a Mediterranean endemic, widely spread in the Adriatic Sea too. It can reach a length of over 1 meter. So very often the pen shell offer a suitable base for settlement of various algae and numerous colonial animals. Kornati are known as the landscape from Mars. 9 species of orchids can be found here. Croatia has in total around 175 species of orchids in total. In the world, we have around 25,000 species of orchids, but here in Europe, just 2% of them are in Europe. But the plants from this orchid family have appeared on Earth only 20 million years ago. The orchids are one of the largest plant families in the world. They are particularly widespread in the tropics as epiphytes, so the ones you can buy in flower shops, and in the temperate climate as terrestrial plants, so the ones that grow in Kornati, but they cannot be picked because they are typically endangered in Europe. After exploring Kornati Island by boat and foot, we will end our day on Pag Island. It's also called a moon island, which means doesn't have much trees, like Kornati Islands do. So Pag Island is the second longest island in the Adriatic. It covers approximately area of 110 square miles, and it's 37 miles long. So due to the strong Bura wind, the island has very little vegetation, but the numerous stone walls built by farmers and shepherds, which allow for some cultivation. On the map, on the picture, you can see Hotel Boškinac. It will be our base on day 3. Hotel is a pure oasis of peace under the pine wood and next to vineyard and olive grove. It was built in the field, 70 meters from the sea, 2K from Novalja, which is a little more than 1 mile from the sea. Every room has its own story and color theme and is named after a local object or plant, depending on the design of the room. So all rooms have been designed with carefully selected natural materials and handmade furniture. This is a room. This is a Velebit Nature Park. Is the largest and the most complex protected area in Croatia. In terms of landforms and vegetation, it includes the most important mountain in Croatia, which received protected status in 1978 for its extraordinary natural values and importance for the preservation of biodiversity, and was also included in the UNESCO World Network of Biosphere Reserves. So extraordinary natural values are supported by the fact that the park includes 2 national parks. One is Paklenica National Park and the other one is North Velebit National Park. So the entire mountain range area is a protected nature park, but 2 areas of that nature park are actually national parks. We're gonna visit one of those 2, and that one is called North Velebit National Park. So Velebit is one of the largest mountains in the area of Dinarica, and it stretches about 80 miles. That area is known as Dinarica Alps. Dinarica Alps are not famous as maybe Swiss Alps or Austrian Alps, but they are approximately 450 miles long and between 30 and 110 miles wide. So the mountain system stretches from northwest to southeast. So the chain consists of more than 200 mountains shared among eight countries, which is Slovenia, Italy, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, Serbia, Kosovo, and Albania. The hike we will take will be on Premožić Trail. So that trail is part of North Velebit National Park. The mountain trail is very famous. It's around 30 miles long, connects the peak areas of northern and central Velebit. It is named after its designer Ante Premožić, constructor of trails on Velebit. It took him approximately 3 years to construct the trail, and the works were performed by many inhabitants of the villages. So due to its quality of constructions and the way it blends into the natural environment, the trail is definitely considered to be a masterpiece of construction. So that's the reason why that trail became part of the list of cultural goods of the Republic of Croatia in, as you know, 2009. So that Velebit Massif is certainly one of the most important, if not the most important, floristic area of Croatia, and definitely one of the most important centers of the European biodiversity. In the area of Velebit, there are about 2,000 plant species and subspecies, many rare, endangered, endemic, and protected plants, and some of which are only found on Velebit. Here you can see some of them. The first on the left is Velebit degenia. So it grows mainly on thinner and calmer Cres, facing southeast and in rock crevices. So it's an endemic plant from the northwest Dinarica, found only on Velebit, and it mostly flowers in May and June. The next one is window bellflower. It's predominantly grows in partial shadows on stone blocks or in beech forest caves, but it's also frequently found in the crevices of dry south-facing rocks. Yes, and it flowers in July and August. The next one on the left, so that one is Croatian Sibirea. It's a strictly protected plant which grows on rocky slopes between the stones too, predominantly on the west slopes of Velebit. It flowers in June and beginning of July. The next one, it's called the Wallstein bellflower. It's an endemic Croatian species which grows on sun-exposed rocks, but also on caves and stone blocks in a beech forest. It flowers in July and August. The fauna of Velebit is diverse and very valuable. We can find here large carnivores like wolf, bear, lynx, wild cat, and some other mammals like wild boar, roe, deer, chamois, then birds such as capercaillie, hazelgrouse, golden eagle, different owls, woodpecker species, and numerous typical mountain species. The presence of large carnivores, especially the brown bear, the gray wolf, and the Eurasian lynx, even the Eurasian otter, they are strictly protected and they are globally endangered species. and definitely they are a testimony to the quality and preservation of the habits. Particularly the Eurasian lynx is especially demanding on in this regard. The Eurasian lynx is critically endangered. All 4 carnivores are the park nature species. The brown bear is our largest carnivore. The bear can be found all over Velebit, even in the coastal area. The bear is a species protected under the Nature Protection Act and Hunting Act, but with the right of hunting in line with the brown bear management plan for the Republic of Croatia. There's approximately 1,500 brown bears in Croatia. Probably, as you know, we have in total 8 different species of bears in the world, but in Europe you can find just brown bear. And Croatia has, it's definitely one of the countries with the highest population of brown bears in whole Europe. Grey wolf can be found in the whole area of Dinarica and are strictly protected under the Nature Protection Act. Eurasian lynx. At the beginning of the 20th century, the lynx was completely destroyed in Croatia and was reintroduced into Slovenia in 1973. But from Slovenia actually spread into the whole area of Velebit and up to the coast. So the lynx is a species strictly protected under the Nature Protection Act. After Velebit National Park, we spent the next 2 nights sleeping in a small fishing village, actually in a Hotel Navis. Hotel Navis is a design hotel, and it's located a little bit outside of that beautiful fishing village. Hotel Navis is a family-owned hotel, design hotel, quite modern. All rooms have the view of the sea, so it's really wonderful to have dinner there. Next day, we go to Cres Island. One of the most unique birds that we will see on this trip is Griffon vultures. Even though Griffon vultures live in other parts of the world, like Spain, France, Italy, Serbia, Greece, Bulgaria, the Kvarner population, and Kvarner is the region where we will sail to see the Griffon vultures. So Cres Island is located in that Kvarner Bay. So the Kvarner population is unique in the world because these birds nest right above the sea, while in other regions they nest mostly in mountain areas. The first bird reserve in the world, whose primary goal was the protection of Griffon vultures, was proclaimed in 1969 on the island of Kirk, so it's a nearby island of Cres, and the second 2 on the island of Cres in 1986. So Griffon vultures are very unique birds. They feed exclusively on the carcasses of large and mid-sized mammals, and they never eat live prey. For this reason, it can be said that they play a hygienic role in the ecosystem, as they prevent the possible spread of certain infection diseases. Griffon vulture is one of the largest bird species in the world and the largest one in Croatia. On this trip, once we are off the boat, we will visit Beli Rescue Center for Griffon vultures. That's the only registered Griffon vulture rescue center in the Republic of Croatia, which means that it plays an important role in the further preservation and care for these strictly protected species. The need for a rescue center is great because every year, on average, 10 Griffon Vultures get hurt and are brought to the rescue center. These are mostly young and unexperienced birds which fall out of their nest into the sea beneath the cliffs during their first few flights in the summer months, and are then saved and brought to the rescue center for treatment. Sometimes even adult vultures can be found injured or exhausted and brought to recuperate in the Beli Rescue Center. So after receiving the required treatment in the center, the birds are released back into the wild. So every rescued and recovered vulture gets another chance of life, which is a significant effort in the endeavor to preserve Griffon vultures in Croatia, and not just in Croatia, and nearby countries too. Before being released, the birds are ringed or marked with a GPS transmitter, which definitely helps to keep track of them and how they get along in the wild. This is home. Home is considered as the smallest town in the world. It also ended up in the Guinness Book of Records as the smallest town in the world. It has just 30 inhabitants, and it's located in the center of Istria, near town of Buzet. The town has only it's only 100 meters long and 30 meters wide, but it has it holds so much of history. The town entirely enclosed by walls in the 11th century, on the remains of the earlier fortification. So the houses were constructed inside the walls, and the interesting fact about home is that from its conception till this day, almost nothing was built outside the walls, which makes home one of the rare, well-preserved examples in the world of urban development, completely within the walls of the medieval city, or actually town. Truffle hunting. We will, after visiting home, we will go into the Motvun forest for truffle hunting. We will experience the true demonstration of truffle hunting in that magical Motvun forest, which is preserved in the heart of Istria, which is that Motvun forest is the natural habitat of truffles. Motvun forest is among the best and renowned truffle regions in the world, and not many truffle hunters have license to go into that forest. So many of them have kind of their own forest, but the family and the guide that we're gonna use on this trip is licensed for the truffle hunting in Motvun forest. So we will definitely be on the right spot to find the truffles. So the local truffle hunter is experienced, and during the truffle hunt in the forest, we will be shown how truffles are found with the help of experienced truffle dogs. Usually, we go with 2 dogs. This is Motovun. Motovun is a quite small medieval town in central Istria. Population is around 500 inhabitants, so it's really small, but it has a very rich historical heritage. It's considered one of the pearls of the Istrian inland. It's located on the Motovun hill, and built over on a site of ancient settlement. It has been added to the UNESCO tentative list in order to enter the World Heritage list. Motovun was first mentioned in the 9th century, but then it was fortified by the Venetians, who took over Motovun in the 13th century. So during that period, city walls, gates, towers were built and remain almost completely intact till this day. After exploring these small hilltop towns, we will get lost in the vineyards of the Istrian countryside. Istria is extremely popular wine region, one of the most popular wine regions, not just in Croatia, even in Europe. The winemaking in Istria has a very long history. A large portion of the Istrian countryside is dedicated to producing wines, high quality wines, mostly made from Teran and Malvasia. So those are local grapes of sorts which can be found just in that region. We will visit the traditional family-owned wine cellar built in 19th century, and we'll taste some of the best Croatian wines. All their wines are organic. This is a boutique hotel, Vela Vrata. It's a family hotel located on the top of another town. That town is called Buzet. It's close to Motovun, and hotel is located in the old building, but inside it's quite modern. And after Croatia, we enter Slovenia. Slovenia is characterized by a rich diversity of plant and animal species, ecosystems and landscapes. The Triglav National Park is one of the oldest European parks. The first protection dates back to 1924. In 2003, the UNESCO adopted the decision to include the Julian Alps and the Triglav National Park into the international network of biosphere reserves. So the forest covers 2/3 of the park territory, overgrowing valley floors, steep slopes, and high altitude plateaus. The most characteristic tree species in the park are beech, spruce, and larch. The largest larch tree in the park is 1,050 years old. The largest plateau in the park, it's called Pokljuka. It's covered mainly in spruce forest. Pokljuka is an alpine plateau located in Triglav National Park, just high above Lake Bohinj and Lake Bled. Traditional farming villages and mountain pastures dot the plateau. So we will have opportunity to explore Pokljuka. Some of the places on Pokljuka which we visit is also Planina Zajamniki. Planina means mountain. They say it's too beautiful to be real alpine pasture. Over 24 wooden cottages stretch out linearly across the open pasture, as you can see on the picture. Traditionally, these wooden huts were the summer residence of dairy farmers and shepherds tending to their cattle. This is Lake Bohinj from the upper station of Bohinj cable car. So Lake Bohinj is the largest permanent lake in Slovenia. It's located within the Bohinj Valley of the Julian Alps and is part of Triglav National Park too. Lake Bohinj is quite long. It's approximately 2.6 miles long and a little more than half a mile wide. So it's a home to many fish and species like brown trout, European chub, then common minnow, Arctic char, and as well of numerous algae species. This is also Lake Bohin. There is also a small cheese factory. They produce organic products, and we will visit one of those cheese factories. This is Hotel Ribna. It's located in a small village not far from Bled Lake. It's surrounded by a pine forest. Hotel Ribna is the first and actually the only Slovenian zero-waste hotel, and it will be our base for 2 nights in Slovenia. So every day we will go from this hotel to the nearby mountains. Regarding the fauna, this is alpine marmot. So during even the Ice Age, alpine marmot was quite common and widely spread in the territory of Slovenia, but it became extinct at the end of that period, and it was reintroduced to the area at the end of the 20th century. Today, it inhabits mountain meadows all over Triglav National Park. Marmots sleep through winter in winter dens, and they may be up to 5 meters deep. During hibernation, their body temperature drops and their heart rate and breathing slow down. So they survive on the store-fed supplies collected over the summer month. Marmots wake up when snow starts to melt. Then very common, it's red deer. Red deer inhabits forests from lowlands to the tree line. It prefers places where forest edges meet open areas. During daytime, they rest in the shadows of the trees, and when the sun sets, they start grazing. In the Triglav National Park, red deer first occurred several decades ago, but today the species is among the most numerous. Very common, chamois too. In summer months, the chamois prefers open rocky terrains above the tree line, and in winter they mostly stay in forests. If the winter is very harsh, then they tend to go to the valleys. In summer, chamois are active in the morning and evening, and in winter, the activity is spread out throughout the day. Very often, we can see chamois in Triglav National Park. Also, many birds in Triglav National Park. Some of them will of teeth. The left one nests in tree trunks. And in winter, they move from usually high altitude forests to lower altitude woods. In autumn months, the willow-teeth stages away the surplus of seeds for winter feeding. In Slovenia, willow-teeth is a relatively common resident bird with distribution area spanning from the Julian Alps to another part of the country. On the picture, you can also see Eurasian pygmy owl. It's a very small owl, small up to 20 centimeters. Pygmy owl nests in tree cavities. They prey on small mammals and birds. And at night, the owl rests and its call can only exceptionally be heard during bright moonlight nights. Also, when they are excited, the owl will cock its tail, flicking it from side to side. Golden eagle used to inhabit lowlands forest. It's a predator, able to snatch up large animals like capercaillie, marmots, or foxes, or even chamois kits. It's not uncommon that the prey will exceed the eagle's body size and will need lots of energy to be taken away. Flora of the Triglav National Park is extremely rich and diverse. On the picture you can see on the left alpine and ringo. Flowers from June to September. It grows in open, sunny, and humid grasslands. It's also known as the Queen of the Alps. On the right side, Edelweiss blooms between July and September. It is pollinated by flies and beetles. Leaves and flowers are covered with white hairs, which protect the plant that grows on extremely dry and windy sites from temperature loss and excessive evaporation. So the Edelweiss prefers rocky grasslands and gravel. The Triglav hawksbear is a low perennial plant which resembles a dandelion. So it belongs to the aster family. Fruits are dry and covered in hairs. The entire plant contains bitter principles. So it flowers from August to September. And Triglav rose. Triglav rose is very famous. It likes sunny slopes. It grows on gravel, rocky grasslands. It blooms in mid-summer. The leaves are three-lobed and hairy on both sides. The Triglav rose is one of the symbols of the Triglav National Park. Something about gastronomy. Each region of Croatia and Slovenia has its own special culinary personality that will surprise you definitely. The food is fresh, absolutely delicious. So the trip is definitely a gastronomic trip. It's also a good way to get to know a country through gastronomy. And in the end, something about how to pack. These are some of the items which are necessary to bring. I would highly suggest rain jacket because the weather can be really unpredictable since we will walk and hike on some mountain areas. So you will definitely need rain jacket and you will need a water resistant day pack. So you can put a couple of things during the day in that day pack. Sport shoes, but I would highly suggest bringing hiking boots because the terrain is like that you would like to have hiking shoes. I always have a hiking boots too. Hiking poles would be also nice to have. Definitely a lot of layers because of the weather and especially in Velebit National Park and Triglav National Park. In the morning it can be really like sunny and just in an hour it can be rain or lower temperature. So definitely more layers. Short, long pants, sleeve shirts, definitely sun hat, you will need it. Swimsuit for swimming, and I think that's it. Sunblock would be also nice to have. We always have sunblock in the minibus, so that's fine. And yeah, I think that's more or less. Yeah. I think we are done. If you have any questions, I'm willing to answer or help give any information.
Monika, thank you so much. That was such a fabulous presentation, and you definitely made me want to go to Croatia and Slovenia. So thank you again for presenting to us today. Before we start the Q&A, I would like to remind everyone that they can submit their questions via the questions field in the control panel. But we'll start off with an image you showed us of some folks hiking. It looked like they were wearing winter clothing. Can you tell us a little bit more about what kind, what season was that taken in, and can we expect the temperatures to be pretty cold and windy?
Not actually. I mean, we don't expect cold weather, especially the climate change. We can see, and especially this year, how the temperature is actually higher than it's usually. So definitely rain jacket would be more than enough, and underneath just maybe fleece and more layers, and that would be pretty much enough.
Okay, great. A lot of interest in the physical nature of the trip. Would you be hiking all 4 miles of the Krupa River, or can you talk a little bit more about mileage?
No. Actually, we will hike just one small area.
Okay.
It would be approximately 2 miles in total. So
Okay.
going down and up. And it's really easy walking and hiking up. Once we are done, we can go swimming. It's really nice. So it's really easy walk that day.
Okay, good to know. And what about the altitude? Can you tell us the highest altitude that people might encounter?
The highest altitude would be around 4,000.
Okay. Is that
Little,
meters or feet?
no, feet. I was calculating in feet, so
Okay.
it's around 4,000 feet.
Okay, great. And can you talk a little bit more about the brown bear? Is that considered a grizzly like we have here in the States, or is it a different
No,
species?
I mean, grizzly is also brown bear, but no, we don't have such huge brown bears. So we don't have those grizzlies. Here they are much smaller, and it's almost impossible to see them because they hide, and it's really in the area where we go. It's almost impossible to see, on those hiking trails. If we would go deeper in the wood, in the forest, in another area of Velebit National Park, then we might see them, especially in Lika region. It's just north from that region, but we don't go there. But it's really like, it would be like getting on lottery if we would see them. But
Right.
they usually hide. And Eurasian lynx, that's definitely not possible to see. Just recently, one of the guy had a luck and he took a photo of Eurasian lynx, but they really hide, and like we have just around 150 of them in Croatia, and it's impossible to see them too.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit more about the choice of hotels in Slovenia? Can you talk about specifically what zero waste procedures do they engage in, and what was the driving force for them to take this approach? Do you know much about the history there or about their practices?
Uh, um, just a little bit. So they are a 3-star hotel, but they are zero waste, and that's why we decided to choose that hotel. And it's a family-owned hotel, and the family just decided, they want to go into the zero waste philosophy. And they really did a great job. There's one of the director of the hotels. That lady is there a couple of years. They just when she came, they started to do that zero waste, and they have a whole procedures. Once you are in the hotel, you will immediately see the bins for different kind of things, how everything is structured. You will see also during the breakfast, they have like small plates. Everything is much smaller than in other hotels. Because people during the breakfast they can fill their plates and then go again, but then there's some leftovers and then it's just a waste. So they really take a deep care of that. I don't know what they needed to do. I know that they measure the waste every month, and as I remember well, like 5% is just what is left under they recycle everything else.
Okay.
And that's like they need to follow certain rules because they're certificated as a zero waste. I don't know all the rules, but definitely they are already, I think this is the third year as their zero waste hotel.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. That's very, very helpful. So as far as adding on to this already incredible trip, folks are interested in adding the national park and want to know whether you'd recommend going before or after the scheduled itinerary. And then also, how easy would it be to add on the Croatian coast to this trip, adding on an itinerary to see the coast?
Uh, Definitely. I mean, there's an option to see the coast, and for example, National Park of Plitvice. I assume many of them would be interested in seeing Plitvice lakes, which are really amazing. I mean, both the coast and the Plitvice lakes can be seen either before trip or after the trip. Maybe if you want to explore more of the coast, then I would suggest maybe landing in, for example, Dubrovnik, and then going up along the coast to Zadar. And I would say like 4 days. I mean, more days would be much better, but like in 4 days, you can see pretty much like 2 or 3 days around Dubrovnik area, and then along the coast all the way to Zadar. So maybe actually 5 days would be okay to explore. And Split is also nice to see. It has the Diocletian Palace, and the palace itself is under UNESCO. So yeah, definitely I would suggest visiting the rest of the coast, because Croatia is very different. You will see, we will go from one region to another region, but even on the coast, so we will see one part of the coast, we will see the north part of Dalmatian coast. But even if you go like 50 miles further than that, it would be very different region. So it would be really interesting maybe to see some other parts of Croatia too, even along the coast.
Sounds great.
And of course, I would definitely suggest visiting the national parks of Plitvice, because Plitvice are very unique. You cannot find in Europe such a beautiful national park. I mean, beautiful. There are many beautiful national parks, but it's structured in a way that like one waterfall goes into another one, 16 lakes. I mean, the whole area is amazing. It's such a unique national park in whole Europe.
Mm. It sounds fabulous. Well, thank you again. I want to turn it back to you for any closing comments you might have.
Thank you. So I'm so grateful that I had the pleasure to introduce you to Croatia and Slovenia. Really two tiny countries in Europe, but at the same time, one of the ecologically best preserved parts of Europe. I do hope that you all enjoyed in this online journey. If you would like to immerse yourself in outstanding natural beauty, these countries are, are definitely for you. I don't know, is there any spots left in the following months? You can check it out. But I do really hope that I will see you one day in my Croatia and nearby Slovenia, which is also very beautiful.
I hope so too. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Please tune in again tomorrow for our next daily dose of nature. You can check out this week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I'll conclude the webinar. Have a wonderful day, everyone.